It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It is showtime, Geno Jones Showtime. I'm here. I'm live. It's Wednesday evening, Wednesday afternoon out in California. Hump Day, Working Divas Wednesday. Now, Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. You got that? Eastern Time. Chicago, stand up, everybody. Central Time, 6:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m. live in Los Angeles and Las Vegas, 4:30 in the afternoon on the West Coast. Like, share, and subscribe. You got that? Like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody you know. Everybody, like, share, and subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. The show is interactive. What does interactive mean? It means you can get active. If you got a question, if you got a comment, if you want me to shout you out or somebody else out, get active. Jump in that chat room. You see where it says live chat? As a matter of fact, let me click on this little button here. You'll see it. It says live chat. So where it says live chat, I want you to jump in there and say what's on your mind. Say what you mean what you say, or not. But jump in that chat room. I'd love to hear from you. Love to get your thoughts. Oh, also programming note from the top. No live show this Friday. No live show this Friday because it is still hockey, the playoffs, Kelly Cup. So we have a minor league hockey team here called the South Carolina Stingrays. Let's go Rays! So it is like the first round of their playoffs. And so game 5 is going to be here in Charleston, South Carolina. Actually, technically, North Charleston, South Carolina, Friday night. So I'm like the hype man for the Rays. You'll see me on the ice. You see me on the big Jumbotron screen in the stadium and up in the stands, interacting with the fans, getting the fans hyped. So no live show on Friday, but we will be live on Thursday. So everybody watching me live now today, Wednesday evening or afternoon on the West Coast. So we will be live. Once again, jump in that chat room. Holler at your man. Let me know what's on your mind. I want to hear from you. So let me start off the show. For all those who say my vote don't matter, and especially to my black folks, to my brothers and sisters, to my fellow African-American brothers and sisters. But this goes for everybody, but I'm keeping it in the house. But the folks out the house, this applies to you too. Say, I don't do politics. No, man, I don't do politics. Well, guess what? Politics will do you. As a matter of fact, politics has done you. Because politics has put a Supreme Court in place, Supreme Court justices. Well, 6 of the 9 are unabashedly white nationalists and making no secret about it. And every decision they are making to empower white nationalists. They are making Supreme Court rulings to take away the voting rights, the civil rights, you name it, human rights of specifically black people, black Americans. Just that plain and simple. Why do I say that? Well, Geno, what you talking about? So today, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not gonna play one on TV right now. But the Supreme Court, they voted 6-3, basically, to allow the state of Louisiana to redraw their political maps, to take away. As a matter of fact, I think the state of Louisiana had only one district that was a majority African Americans, where the majority of the African Americans lived in that district. Now, keep in mind, Louisiana is a state that at least a third of the population, so it's like 30+% of the state of Louisiana is black. So you would think if a third of the population is black, a third of the voting districts would represent that population. Nah, you had one congressional district in Louisiana. Now, the white nationalists and this Governor Landry, they got this real hardcore racist MAGA governor, Governor Landry in Louisiana. Now he's going to redraw the map to try to get rid of to take away the voting power of black people in Louisiana, to get rid of the one black legislator that they have. And now the MAGA cult, the little punk ass MAGA cult member that MAGA don't even like, governor of Florida, little twinkle toes with his little with little white boots on, little Ron DeSantis, the little man, Ronnie D, dumbass DeSantis, is now going to basically allow his legislators and the legislators in Florida to redraw these maps. Basically, the reason to do that, why are they doing it? You ask. Yes, Geno. Why are they doing that? Because they want to get rid of black voting power, and they don't want any black representation. They don't want any black elected officials, because they want white nationalists. It's like minority rule. It's like apartheid, American version. Even though South Africa learned apartheid from America's Jim Crow laws, just like the Nazis and Hitler learned the racist Nuremberg laws to oppress primarily Jews and other people in Nazi Germany. They studied America's apartheid laws. As a matter of fact, Hitler sent a lawyer to the University of Arkansas back in the mid-30s, like in 1933, to study America's apartheid laws and figure out, wait a minute, you got this, the Constitution and with the Declaration of Independence, and you claim all men are created equal, but how are you all pulling off this Jim Crow where you virtually taken away all the political power, where you have allowed every institution to engage in racism, and it be legal? You all have legalized and codified racism, where it is legal in law, written down on paper. That's Jim Crow laws, and that's exactly what's happening now. That is the attempt to go all the way back and past to the Jim Crow laws and before that. And now some of you all may be saying, all right, Geno, come on, man, you're being hyperbolic. You're just being over the top. No, I am not. The Supreme Court just voted to basically allow Louisiana to say, oh, no, it's okay. No, you know that Voting Rights Act and the things, the language in the Voting Rights that said you can't just go in and redraw a map to take away the voting power of a particular race of people, specifically black folks. No, you can't do. Oh yeah, you can. Just do what you want to do. That's what the Supreme Court decision was all about. So, for all those who say, nah, I don't do politics, well, politics is doing you. Because politics put those racist Supreme Court justices in the Supreme Court. So that's when they say voting matters, yeah, it matters. So, once again, you can say all you want to. You can sit in the barbershop and hair salon, sit around with your boys or your girls and bitch and moan. And, oh man, they all the same. And I heard somebody on a radio station today, a black woman from South Carolina, as I step off camera just for a second, who the MAGA cult got a hold of her too. She's like, well, they all the same, and I don't vote for them because they all the same, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so do you really think that a President Kamala Harris would have allowed Bibi Netanyahu, for someone who she had no love for and who she publicly criticized and publicly said, I do not support Bibi Netanyahu and what he's doing? She said, yes, she says she supports the people of Israel, but she emphatically says she did not support Bibi Netanyahu. But I digress. I won't relitigate all that. But if you think that America would be looked down upon as the bully, all of our allies have pulled away, we've lost our allies trying to bully folks, trying to steal Greenland and Cuba and wanted to invade Canada and talked about invading Mexico. That madness. And gas, $4.30 a gallon, average today. So it's probably somewhere between 4.25 and 4.30. Could be more. I didn't even see what it was at the close of business today. So politics will do you. Speaking of politics doing you, if you don't do politics, I want to shout out the students of South Carolina State University. So there was a lot of scuttlebutt. So the president of South Carolina, well, okay, let me go back. I can't confirm, well, let's put it this way. He is the president. So no one could be a commencement speaker at your graduation unless you, as the president, President Alexander Conyers, brother's name is Alexander Conyers. He is the president, South Carolina State University. State-owned, historically black college and university, about 30 minutes from where I'm standing right now. Orangeburg, South Carolina. Incredible reputation, the legacy, great alumni. So the students, shout out to the students of South Carolina University. They were protesting a woman that was going to be their commencement speaker on next Friday. A woman named Pamela Yvette. Pamela Yvette is the lieutenant. She's the lieutenant governor of South Carolina. And Pamela Yvette, along with being the lieutenant governor, Pamela Yvette is running to be the governor, even though she's currently the lieutenant governor. Yes, she's running to be governor of South Carolina, and she has embraced MAGA. I mean, she's put a bear hug on MAGA and got TV commercials talking about, yeah, and I stand with Donald Trump, and President Trump loves me, and, ain't no telling what else she probably really wanted to say. And she stands for all the racist, sexist, misogynist, bigoted policies that this regime stands for. And she's bragging on it. And she is standing 10 toes down. She's saying it with her full chest, 10 toes down. She supports the MAGA agenda, and she's going to get rid of all the DEI programs. She's called the DEI programs. She called them a scam. These DEI scams that are running rampant through our colleges and universities. That's what this heifer said. Yes. And she called the thing that really set me off. She called the students of South Carolina State University who were protesting, who were exercising their First Amendment right, and who were protesting not just the lieutenant governor, but they were protesting her policies and the policies that she proudly stands for and represents and brags about it. Talking about wanting to get rid of, like DEI is a scam. This being pulled on colleges and universities. So when you talk about being against, so let me do something for everybody watching. I'm gonna make it real simple. I'm gonna help you understand exactly what is going on. So when you hear people, especially these MAGA cult members, saying that, I'm anti-DEI. So the letters, it's an acronym. It stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. But what you really hear when you hear people say, well, that DEI and it's evil and anti-DEI, that means they are anti-black. They are anti any policies, any programs that try to somehow rectify or to repair the damage of racism. 400 years, I guess it'll be 470 years since our first African, well, even there were some, quote unquote, those with African descent that were supposedly here before 1619. But for the most part, all the accurate historians document that the first Africans brought here, that kicked off that transatlantic slave trade that The chattel slavery was in August of 1619 up in Virginia. I think around a little town around Jamestown, Virginia. So anti-DEI means that I'm good with racism. I'm racist. I don't like, and at their levels, you know, you got like hardcore, violent white nationalists. Then you got your just regular white nationalists. Then you got some will call like the soft white nationalists. They are the ones that'll smile in your face and act like they like you and yeah, let's go drink a beer and all that. But they don't really see you as equal, and they would not want to have to share power with you. They don't necessarily want you moving next door to them. They don't want your son marrying their daughter or their daughter marrying your son. So there's levels to this white nationalism. And then you got the billionaires that are racist, but don't give a shit about the poor white folks because they understand that this whole construct called race is bullshit. It was created by wealthy elite people in Europe in the 15 and 1600s, basically to distract poor Europeans and give them somebody else to be pissed off at, because these wealthy Europeans who referred to poor and working class Europeans as peasants, they weren't messing with them. But they had to give them somebody else to be pissed off at. So, let's look at these people, you know, with this melanin and with this dark skin. And look at the continent that's got all these, they can grow all kind of agriculture, and it's got natural resources. It's got diamonds and gold, just so much gold and oil under. We got to get in there. We got to steal these resources. And then the biggest resource was human resources, human capital, that they turned into the transatlantic slave trade, chattel slavery. So, but let's bring it back to the students of South Carolina State University. So Pamela Event, who's trailing in the polls, by the way, in the Republican primary that's coming up, she's trailing, and she wants to be governor. And Governor Henry McMaster, who I call Governor Foghorn Leghorn, who is the most inarticulate. When you listen to this dude speak, you like, how your dumb ass ever become governor? Is that a reflection? Is he a reflection on the state of people in the state of South Carolina? Is he a reflection of the white men of MAGA? Yeah, actually, yes, he is. He's a great avatar. You know, if you wanted to have like ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot or whatever, or just a dictionary, and they had a picture next to the word white nationalist, white MAGA male in South Carolina, yeah, you would see a picture. If you took his suit off, because you know the governor, he wears his, you took his suit off and put on, you know, like just some regular raggedy ass shirt. But I digress. So the students of South Carolina State University, they were protesting this lieutenant governor who's running to be governor, who's trailing in the polls in the Republican primary, Pamela Evette. She somehow was going to be the commencement speaker, who is against anything, all DEI programs, and who said it with a full chest. And said she was eliminating all these radical DEI scams. This was her quote. She said, I'll be ending radical DEI scams on college campuses. Those are the words of Pamela Evette. So programs to help black students who come from economically deprived backgrounds because of the institutional racism that denied their parents and grandparents opportunity for jobs, who denied their families opportunity to get fair housing loans and to get insurance. They called redlining, when people took like a little red marker, who were in the insurance industry or home loans industry, and literally would take a red marker and draw it around all the zip codes that had black people that lived in those zip codes, and they would draw a red line around there and just take some red and scratch it out. And if you lived in a zip code that was inside those red lines, you were denied an opportunity to get a home loan, to get insurance, car insurance, home insurance. All of the institutional racism in housing, in employment, in education, all the schools that were in primarily black neighborhoods that were denied, equal access to funding. Now I know they say, well, a lot of the money schools get is based on the tax base, and it comes from property tax. So schools in wealthier neighborhoods, they'll get more money because people can pay more tax. Well, who came up with that system? Who came up with that dumbass system? Anti-DEI means that we don't want to teach the truth about American history. So we don't want to tell you anything about what black people accomplished or achieved. We want to continue to teach these lies. Like Governor DeSantis in Florida, I'm paraphrasing. Well, there was some of the slaves, they benefited from slavery because they learned skills that can help them. Help them how? If they couldn't get paid, they were enslaved. So having these skills, they brought skills, which is why a lot of our ancestors were snatched and enslaved from West Africa, because they knew how to grow crops, rice, tobacco, things like indigo, that these Europeans didn't know how to grow. Who had built communities in West Africa. So our African ancestors, they didn't learn shit. Our enslaved ancestors, they weren't taught skills by these enslavers. They were enslaved and kidnapped because they already had skills. So when you hear somebody say, anti-DEI, and what really pissed me off, she called these students a woke mob. So you call these young people a mob, but you are the same Pamela Yvette who has publicly supported the January 6th thugs and criminals who were convicted of trying to overthrow the United States government, an act of treason, who were insurrectionists, who were convicted and then pardoned by your boy Orange Hitler. So you called the January 6th criminals who engaged in an insurrection of the federal government, tried to overthrow the government and stop the peaceful transfer of power. You referred to those criminals who tried to kill cops, police officers, on January 6th, Pamela Yvette. You called those criminals patriots, but you called these young students, these brilliant young black men and women at South Carolina State University who were exercising their First Amendment right because they didn't want your racist ass to come there with your anti-DE, your anti-blackness and your bigotry that is represented in the policies that you support and endorse with your orange lord and master and savior, Donald Dumbass, DJT. Yeah, that dude. So you support all those racist, bigoted, misogynist, sexist. You support those policies. But you call DEI a scam. Radical DEI scams on college campuses. And you call those young people, those young, brilliant black students, a woke mob. Yeah, they're very awake. And being awake is a good thing, because too many of you all are asleep, which is why this country is in the condition it is in now, which is why you got a man who's been credibly accused of sexual assault, who still is supposed to pay E. Jean Carroll, who accused him of raping her, and a jury in a civil trial found your boy and your orange savior, Donald J., the J stands for jackass Trump, found him liable of sexual assault. So he's found liable of sexual assault. Supposed to pay E. Jean Carroll like $90 million, hadn't paid her yet. Most of his creditors he didn't pay. He went bankrupt 6 times, his businesses. Didn't want to pay his creditors, or filed bankruptcy. And the people on January 6, 2021, who supported this madness, who tried to kill cops and overthrow the government, they're patriots, but these brilliant young people who were exercising their First Amendment right, protesting your bigotry and anti-blackness, being brought to a historically black college and university to be the commencement speaker in front of the ultimate. Don't play with me. Don't pee on me and tell me it's raining. The arrogance, the narcissism, and the insult. You don't think these kids were smart enough to know what you stood for? The policies that you support? You said it with your full chest on video. That I'm going to be ending all the radical DEI scams on college campuses. And these young people were a woke mob and talking about they could create violence. No, you talking about violence and calling them a mob, you were trying to incite violence, Pamela Yvette. And you're running for governor, and you are trailing in the polls. You're like third or fourth place. So you trying to get a hit publicly. You trying to get some attention. So maybe the MAGA cult members will say, hey, she's our kind of girl. She's our kind of girl. But let me tell you something, Pamela Yvette. The majority of these racist MAGA men, white men, are very misogynistic and very sexist. And they are 10 toes down with patriarchy for white men, which is power influenced by white men. Those white men feel that only white men should have power, should have money, should have power, should be able to decide how the rest of society lives under them, that they are the kings and the rulers. And those white men, those racist, misogynist, MAGA white men, you know, they don't like women either. So they're not effing with you. Those MAGA men, Pamela Yvette, they're not voting for you. I had to let you in on a secret. They ain't voting for you. They ain't fucking with you. They say that you shouldn't be able to vote. That we should change a federal law, and it should be a law to where only a family could vote. It should be a household vote, and only the white man, who's the head of the household, should be able to vote for the entire family. Yes, Project 2025. It's in writing. And you hear a lot of these racist, misogynist, MAGA cult men talking about it. So Pamela Yvette, yes, they hate black folks, but they don't like women, including white women. They feel that you should be barefoot and pregnant, that you shouldn't be able to vote, that you should be at home having babies, cooking dinner, doing laundry, and staying home and shutting up, or as they would say, shut the fuck up. Because that's what they've said multiple times, just on social media. All your MAGA, racist, sexist MAGA influencers. Listen to how they talk about women, all women, including white women, Pamela Yvette. So they're not gonna vote for you. If you're wondering why you are like third or fourth place in the primary, because they are not voting for you. They don't feel that you should be in no position of power, that you should stay in your place at home, pregnant, cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, and shutting the fuck up. That's how those white men that you think that's gonna vote for you, so you can go cape for them and stand 10 toes down, and you can espouse supporting all of their racist, misogynist, sexist policies, which is crazy. So you support a man, your orange lord and master, Orange Hitler, credibly accused, found liable of sexual assault, credibly accused, named in the Epstein files more than anybody, and protecting pedophiles at the least. Well, we know what time it is. So you cool with the pedophiles and the racists and the misogynists and sexists, as long as they're against black folks. And, you know, we got to get rid of those DEI programs. You know, we don't need to teach black history. Oh, we don't want our white kids to feel bad about themselves. Why do you think the white kids will feel bad about themselves if they learned about the violence, the racism, the hatred, the inhumanity of their grandparents and great-grandparents? Why would they feel bad? They didn't do it. And if they felt bad, if young white kids feel bad once they learn how cruel and evil some of their ancestors, some of their own parents and grandparents were, if they feel bad about the level of inhumanity, cruelty, murder, and rape, if young white kids, after learning about that part of American history, because that's American history, and if they feel bad about it, that's a good thing, because it means that those young white kids, they have a sense of humanity. They have a sense of compassion and empathy and decency and morality and humanity. And they realize that that's the way that Africans who were enslaved and brought to America, the way they were treated, the way the Native Americans were virtually eliminated, engaged in insurrection, was a bad thing. So